Seradia ma ye hwama sema. Asida nyum kwa ni ebetu. Asida nyum kwa ni ebetu. Aye nyum kwa ni ebetu. Nyami ama ye hwama sema. Asida o. Seradia ma ye hwama sema. Asida nyum kwa ni ebetu. Ampa erade ye da was. So unyame na munhira so dia bedu be ade adua. Ade ebeka nyina ne se aseda nkaudi. Era wasempempen so ade ababedu. Papa no sebre nkomode mu Yesu din mu. Adomo ne nti amen. Amen. Ya mikrofo e ma munyina kwaba. Sabre nim se tam na sesa kakra enti ama binum hamrache. Dela say Sabre 3 a.m. and sana East Coast and also 4 a.m. And 8 p.m. a person so your 5 p.m. Time na sesa na mumfa nche yempa na yenyi sa 4 weeks in free mo. Sabri minimo eba beche church growth mijinamu ediama papa awuni induction papa moderator one in chain enti eneno onto me kansa say bi jaina adamu saade ende ohunam pe job kujempo mijinam and I can't share the screen today because tentatively the subject was supposed to have been tomorrow and me share screen but trust me I'll deliver. All right, so we have about basically 45 minutes to go. I want to deal with church growth. I would wish that you take notes, and then when you finish, you go to the YouTube also to please listen more. Okay, that will help me because I got a lot on my hands, and so if I want to prepare notes, and this semester I'm taking 2 courses. I'm taking understanding prayer is 1 course, and I'm taking understanding faith is another course, and I'm taking church growth. So if we split, it's 3 courses. And so couple with other commitments. So I want to beg you that I'll deliver the content to you. You still have the video. Try to take some notes. Try to write certain things, note certain things, which will help you. All right. Okay, so I'll move to church growth. When we talk about church growth, in actual fact, what is it? Church growth. Anybody to tell me what church growth is about? Yeah, can't say church growth as a trepaned and the punctual one bit to me a boy. Yes, anybody, please. Church growth.
Papa.
Yes, please, Nana.
Papa Joy, can mean is a increase in numerical strength.
Okay, that's your point. Thank you so much. All right, who else? Thank you, my brother. Who else? Yes. Anyone else, please? Yes, so when you talk about church growth, that is what every one of us seeks to get, to grow as a person. You want to grow. You want to grow in several ways. You want to grow physically, you want to grow spiritually. And the physical growth is where your body will be very smooth and free from all sicknesses. And then the spiritual growth got to do with how you pray and how you can read the Bible and discern and hear the voice of God. In the same vein, in the church, when you look at the church has to also grow and must grow in numbers and must grow in the ethics or in the doctrine of the church. So we have the quantitative, which has got to do with the numbers. So you grow in numbers. And then you have the qualitative, which you will grow in skill, and you grow in faith, and you grow in the Lord. That is what we are looking at. several persons have attempted to grow, and they seem to be looking at just the physical part of growth, which is worrisome, because if you are sent to a church, everybody expects you to grow the church in numbers. And therefore, if the church is not growing in numbers, all people can conclude is that either the caretaker isn't good or the pastor isn't good. But just believe and trust that the church does not only grow in quantitative, but also the qualitative. Research has shown that it's not easy for a church to grow within the first 2 years, but it takes time. It takes time for the church to grow. Basically 5 years and beyond, that is where it grows. Note this one, Comiskey, right? Comiskey, Comisk. He says that that's Comiskey. I hope you have been able to spell it. Comiskey has that for church to grow, so Comiskey, Comis, then K, that's key, right? Key. He has that for a church to grow, we must employ the cell church model. Cell church model. Now, to him, the cell church model is where you group the people from 3, I'm quoting his word, from 3 to 15. So if you have a larger church, you group the people, maybe a group of 3, a group of 4 or 5 or 6, depending on the size of your church. You group them, and then what they do is that they meet within the week, so that Joe Comiskey will not only look at Sundays, but he looks at it from the fact that within the week, there should be some gathering. And the emphasis is that Joe Comiskey's theory is different from other cell groups. Okay, from cell groups, all you get is they want to be closer so that they can share food together and then visit one another. That is not what Comiskey means. Comiskey says that to have the cell group, all you need is to ensure that the members are well taught. They get into contact with the doctrine, they learn the doctrine very well, and then 2, they are able to go out to evangelize, and then 3, they disciple. So Comiskey's theory is just like Matthew 28, reading from the 18 through to the 20, to say that go ye therefore. And the Comiskey as all kind of say the cell group is not ordinary cell group where you go and eat and make merry. That is not it. But the essence of it is to meet regularly. And of course, I understand Comiskey's theory, because that is the Presbyterian style, where anopasori, where you can have 4 or 5 people, they meet depending on the suburb where you find yourself, and they meet, and these people, now, and for me, Comiskey's book was written in the year 2009, and the title of Comiskey's book is the Church That Multiplies. The Church That Multiplies: Growing a Healthy Cell Church in North America. So this is how we will pick it. In any case, Comiskey also brought some kind of hindrances to the cell church, and if I could just remember a few of them, he said, because we are too busy. We get too busy, and that becomes a hindrance to the cell group. We are too busy. Again, sometimes individualism or individualistic selfishness. We don't want anybody to come into our family home. We want to be okay with our home, and we don't want any intruder to come in our home. Okay. Again, other views that came based on that effect is the fact that some also don't want to learn the Bible. They just don't want to learn the Bible. So anything about learning Bible is a problem. prayer service, they will come. But if you say Bible study, you're likely to get about 5, 10, maximum 30 people to come online. So that learning the Bible is what we have the problem. Then another obstacle is the church building. People want to meet in the church building. They want to meet in the church building. So if you tell them to go and meet in someone's house, they just don't feel comfortable. They don't want to go meet in anybody's house. Another obstacle is also tax oriented. Of course, they have committed themselves to their jobs, and therefore I have to leave for job. I have to leave home around 5 a.m. I have to drive 1.5 hours, and all is about their tax, all is about their job, and that becomes a challenge. And then the last one is also to do, maybe the last but one is to do with the culture of the place, maybe the way the people live in the area, the way they handle themselves will also not permit people to be meeting like that. Then we have people are too busy. They are too busy on their own, busy with television, busy with their phones, busy with their don't talk with their friends and relations and all that. So research has shown that since the Second World War, churches have not been the way they used to be. It's been a serious issue. It's really been a serious issue. And to be able to trace it back from where we are now, of course, let me trace it like, pick it from 1900. From 1900, we realized that churches in their context were declining 40%, 1900. And then again, 70 years after, the decline rate got to about 5%. And then again, from 1980, the decline rate came back to 46, which is 6% of the 1900. And then, of course, in the early millennia, it came to 65%. As I'm talking to you, people of God, the decline rate is so dangerous that we just can't understand what is going on, especially in America. The decline rate in church attendance is very bad. I can't talk about America and leave Australia. Go to Australia, several buildings, church buildings are being sold. Recently, I read from New York Times that churches in New York are being sold, and the areas are being developed into estates and nice edifices for personal use and for estate developers to develop the area for residential purposes. What are we to do as people coming up? What are we doing? America, stand for correction, is almost like 300 million population, as against 35 million in Canada. But America, Christianity is not even 2% of the 300 million. Christianity is not even 2% of America's population. Where are we standing? Research has shown that in Ghana, we have about 76% Christians. Recently, I found it was about 70 or 64. Recently, I think I read somewhere it's a 64% Christians. Whichever the cases, the Pew Research Center also did a study, and then according to their study, they seem to have it that when you talk about where people are religious, it is Africa and Chad. These two countries were seen to have young people in the church. From that context, I would want to protest that argument made by Pew Research Center 2008, and to say that if you say young people are religious in Ghana, especially, there have been other scholars who have also studied, like Kodia. Kodia also did a study and looked at the Methodist Church, the decline rate in the youth in the church. Of course, if you want to see how church grows, it is a youth that grows the church. Trust me, they grow the church because they are the upcoming ones. And Kodia said that there's the decline in the Methodist Church. Not only that, Corte also came in the Presbyterian Church, also did a study, and also Corte 2016 also said that the church has declined. He says the youth are currently going down, and going down. Not only that, Boahin also did a study, and the another area in Kumasi, and Boahin also found out that the church has declined. So where from the search of the Pew Research Center to say that the churches or Christianity or religion in Ghana is growing, in which context did he find that? Maybe he added the Buddhist and the what do you call it, the Islams and other people to it to see that it is growing there. Always you read from the report that we are declining. What do we do as people of this coming church, as church leaders, as pastors of this church? What must we do? How can we grow a church? What are some of the elements of growing a church? Now, let's find out what other scholars have said about how we can grow church. Now, in most of the scholars have said that to grow a church, we must look at disciple making. They believe that disciple making is a key for growing a church. For example, Matthew chapter 28, reading from 18 going. You understand what the Lord told his disciples. Matthew chapter 28, and let's see what is there. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. So this assurance that the Lord has given us. And this is the 21st century command that was given us. There are other scholars who have said that the church has deviated from the 21st century model. Is that true or it is not true? It is so sad that as I read and continue to read, I found out that today about 50% of the churches are not propagating the true gospel. Why? Because the pulpit has turned into people pleasers. Several persons have conducted studies, have studied and found out that the messages that come out of the pulpit promote church growth. The messages that come out of the church, of the pulpit, promote church growth. For example, Jane or Jones, let's say Jones 2000. Jones said that the pastor's message has impact on the growth of the church. Yes, not only that. Again, Thomas Rayner also said that the content of the message in the pulpit is a catalyst for church growth. Now, not only that, another study also found out that people come to church by word of mouth, that there are a lot of people, they follow their friends to church. And so, therefore, if the pulpit and the worship service is loaded, then we can have a beautiful church growth. Because every Sunday, so to speak, let me be clearer, any other or every other, or maybe fortnightly, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana gets people to come to the church and say, I was passing, I came to visit you. And under normal Presbyterian settings, you get one person once a month to pass through the church and say, I just came to visit you. When such people come, there are some elements that they observe in the church. They observe things very, very well. One, other scholars have said that. One, they look at the ushers. The ushers. Two, they look at the receptive nature of the members, the friendliness of the church members. The friendliness of the church members. How friendly are they? How adequate are they to accept newcomers that come to the church? And many others build that, so that if visitors have come and the minister is in the pulpit and he's delivering the message, well-prepared message that you have prayed about, that the Lord is with you, and you are delivering this message, there's no other argument. There's no other argument that a message, if it is coming from God, would touch the people's mind. Then again, they said, fine. Apart from the fact that the minister has delivered a very good message, and Obi susu kra po, this is a practical example. Obi aban is it the hana abasar? O de aka wa no, o chin sorry sa. Obi awaba sorry. Also uhunu wadwen se. Obetumi abeka sorry no. Uhunu na so your method is ni. Sa na man kwa sorry wo. Can you imagine? Enti no enkrasesam enso ka ho enam asoro no entumi ni enkrasesam. Underline it and quote me. This incrasism. Wow. Edru baby say nka so asori mba betumi aboa caretaker na obi aba obi so ho no ma just onya hu ho wa on ben kra go from us aba have you once I be on be koso trouble have you almost aba be koso trouble have you na just say what tagi nipa these are evil attitudes that we need to stop. If you want the traditional churches like Presbyterian Church, Methodist Church to grow, as I see a giant traditional crisis, na you will say, you near by and Kenya, a ye Christo Munwaba. It's as I see a China word too. It's very important. Again, others said that some people to deal with the first time comers. Say first time comer or sorry, one can take a genie, a one body answer, coffee of a friend, episode what to say. Within the week, you know, being 2, 3 a friend, I check it, said and hot, and also your way of retaining people. Because some persons are in here, you must get a first time comer, and the first timer is the one that you would develop to become, a disciple. So that the point I raised about disciple making means that whenever a stranger or a newcomer comes, all you need to do is to think of discipleship. Disciple the person. Disciple the person. As you disciple the person becomes a staunch member of the church, and the person will love to be part of the church forever. Yamikrofo, speaking about this subject, I'm so passionate about it. So passionate about it. Because sometimes, as hard as you want to grow the church, you get people to also be sitting behind and spoiling the church gradually. And so it calls for you, it behoves on you to make sure that you teach your members the need to accept. The so the next day, there's been some funny scenes. Oh, maybe sorry, next time I mean maybe also member no body ade chi amami asan ba bi osan baji body bi na me de body e betena so dem wa de say meboka o sofo and me ma so ni bi. And so it tells you say obu ho no ma ne yefunu auditor so dem ne yefunu na auditor owu bia wono nkofa no mba owu bia no watu atare no wa so dem bo ebusafo abranti bi ye friend no Kajila 2008. The best way we can grow a church is to do the inside out approach. The inside out approach is where you as the leader of the church, this is the youth Levites, assume yourself to be the caretaker. You train the church. You train them. As you train them, they are the people here. They are the people inside. I want to go inside, you say. Until you train you, now you see the arrow. The arrow, they will go out and bring the people. They will go out and bring the people. So that is inside out. The inside out approach teaches the people to go out and do that. Then we have the outside in. With the outside in, the caretaker goes directly to the non-Christians and then bring them into the church. Bring them into the church. So whilst you are going, they are also going. The temptation about Kejile's model is that if you don't grow those inside, and then you, the minister, you go, by the time you come, they are gone and gone dead. If there is a word like that. But if you train them and you are gone, they will also go and bring people. Okay. Now, one observation about Kejile's search is that the catechist or the leader must not have only Christians as his friends. Yesterday, one of my sons, I've known him for 5 years, and I have monitored him for 5 years consistently without delay. Yesterday, he came to church and he even brought some eggs, almost about 5 or 6 crates of eggs. And I told my caretaker to give it to those who need it very well, because I have one stomach. Why? Because when I first came to Australia, I mean, many years before coming to settle, I met this young man and I took his number. So when I settled in Australia 5 years, I still contacted him, said that I'll come, that I'll come, that I'll come, that I'll come, that I'll come. But I kept on and kept on and kept on. And so last 2 weeks, he came home and he said, Daddy, I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to come to church. And definitely he came to church yesterday. I couldn't go because of the SMT exams. Beloved, the Lord Jesus Christ, all that I'm telling is that sometimes it takes you 6-7 years to work on a candidate. It takes 6-7 years to work on a candidate. And no matter what, continue to be whom God wants you to be. And definitely that soul will come. That is fine. It doesn't mean you should become enemy to them, but try to be with them. That is the outside in, that the church forming Christian groups, the church or the forming Christian groups. So you become friends with non-Christians because they are the people you want to win. They are the people you want to win. You want to win the non-Christians. So be high with them. What to call Onipanum Castle to our row glass, what channel over so person ni pay, obey count, obey a dame, and waba count. Yamin Crawford, Messiah a screen way at the free. Yamin person me show you now and say, we know a more like interaction, a more like lectures, a more like practical insights on things that we will do to enable us get to this stage. I'll pause here and then ask you to ask a question before we continue with the next one. Yes. Any question, please?
Papa.
Yes, sir.
But the presby system, no. So we don't have cells, no. So now kind but I think say generational groups, and so is the generational groups, replacing the cells, or can it be? Can we say it's almost the same as the cells?
Yes, thank you, my brother. The cell we are purposely for evangelistic activities, like your funny say, "Was sorry, Della, so watch him." I don't know, young ones, kakra, kakra, watch him, like family way, momo be share, mona mo sell no, and you know, I'm gonna be friend Saturday, you remember, sorry, oh, yeah, to bad time to me, but on the point, before a bit like, I quite say bushia, but on the main issue, they say they try to study the word and they try to win souls. And before we are there, apostolic church, yeah, many of them here, and you know, I know them, you know, Christ Apostolic Church. Just say, so kase abusia we or kwasore, obetumi akọ ofufu ama, ema omo awie fufu no not no kwasore. Hey, so ba na se onware a osukudware bra, benku a obeka benku na ma na ode nakọ. And just say, I will tell you clearly. It will make sure so you know nkwa na kwasore. Also no bekobeba make kind of those days 1991. Or call Asoria, no aba. I say, Elijah, I try your castle. Also, that Missy Matadio, Papa be fatter than was be shattered than Sabosing, Missy Amma, Kudare, and Aquasi, and now Montada Mofambra, Papa Betunta, no near church elder, or Betunta, you know, go as half a Busana near Timun, Nebusafono Dawson. Into a moon quack, a crack on your 15 on the call. In building a church, you know, it calls for more sacrifice than just Sunday wearing the dress. The things you do behind, say, behind the scenes within the week. In fact, say you be say, what you want a Sunday cannot go far, sorry, and then you are lying, because it is not the Sunday that you it is the contact, it is a more de buono, it is set up between Nippon home, Nepmako Siada, what time Natadia or Shaba, sorry. And yes, out to I and Adia, oh, Master, Adia, Otifie, Unimni Howard Danoso, Unima Mania Danoso, Unimnia Wokum. And when we, as leaders, are here, the Bombardier, yes, cell groups now, the GD say, one study material, study every week, you know, study, some also to make sure somebody with the nipper too, every sorrow, no, ababeboa. And I know, so once you do that, no, every boy empire. That's a good question. Any other, please?
The Papa me pacho, like for instance, let me say more yav. Can we maybe initiate into the yav? Say, okay, you know what, maybe yav, you know, maybe every month be the one, maybe Saturday be like I say, we are getting into so many this
I'm say church cell no as a church cell no say like yav for some more yav no groups no but because say catechist no and I say sorry no and say that any more adwuma no group no wo mu no di kokonsa so ye fan say and as no the personal things we nya yi yekugya no we ye party yekugya no because say sorry na kasa say that more adwuma bia nti no adwuma mo nyina no personal nyama bia ebe more gratification but apart from sano what should that group okay this 1 2 3 3 families you make sure say every bia no be share bobo mpae be mo nkomo ayade. It is very, very important. Every minister must get a mentor. Every minister must get a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, you can't go far. No way, you can't go far because a Jumanwa you really need a mentor to direct you, and the level your mentor goes, you will go beyond your mentor. Very important. So choose the mentor very well, and depends on the ministry you want to do, and move on. And at least on your crowd within once a month, try to contact a mentor, and then the only need normal and the impartation will come. The impartation will come. That's why we say the church cell is different from other group cells. Other group cells like prayer cells, are different. We know what Joe Comiskey trying to say. We must build it purposely for evangelism, purposely for leadership training, purposely for building people to evangelize, to disciple others. We need a bit different from all others. And I think it's a very good model. It's a very good model. Larry Osborne, so and also the other former TV so by also can to get a sticky church. Say, I sorry with me, a sticky church, just like I guess a magnetism. to pull people to the church. So like a congregation that is willing to inspire. We don't confirm one day, it's so sticky. Say a best sticky. And fortunately, Larry Osborne also has come to say that small groups change everything. Small groups change everything. And I say the small groups can either break your church or build your church. Over here, groups you are sorry anymore. The same way, instead of saying can we be those groups no more design the criteria for the groups. Say the be that instead of some come and say because they have been discipled. And then the bit to me about Larry Osborne said, small groups change everything. And so we must understand that once we go there with the Holy Spirit, now a kind through that because we groups we a group leader, we a group organizer, it's a group leader on the Bible, group leader on the you are developing groups. In your church, if you have about 4 or 5 groups now, who develop preachers in those 5 groups, who develop prayer leaders in those 5 groups, and in those small groups, they are able to perform so better. Now say the other neighbor, so many name say several other researchers actually and say small group in this area, all the other point I can dear back officer to build your church. You have a survey on it and then see and apply it to your church if that is what will help your church. Because I always pick the practical aspect of the work that you just don't come to listen and go, but you put it into practice. Having put it into practice, that is what will build your church. That is what will build your church. And I know, those times, small group I form here, myself, Reverend Tete, Reverend Abra, Reverend Kwafo, Reverend Etia, but then Reverend Etia was a junior of us, and so he wasn't inside the main core. But all the 4 or 5 core Reverend Abra is in Germany, Reverend Tete is coming to Holland, Reverend Kwaf is in the Branga Hafo, and then Okujum from here. So the group now be form and no so to me bow at the zeal be show momo and will be to me developing a talent. Oh baby, so I encourage small group church. I encourage it. That's why Comiskey use the term church. However, Larry Osborne used the term small group, and that is where Comiskey distinguished that I don't want to sound like a small group where you only meet and then talk about the normal stuff. But my aim is to build leadership. My aim is to disciple people. My aim is to evangelize. And so that is his aim of it. We have 8 minutes to close this service. Any other, please? Right, so there's a question here that I need to ask you, right? If you want to form a small group, how do you start? Do you consider age? Would you even consider age in the small group? And if you would want to consider age, why would you consider age? Why wouldn't you add somebody who is 15 to somebody who is 65 and put them in one group? Why wouldn't you do that? Okay. This will lead me into the next subject. Today I'm just brushing through and I'll pick them one by one and we'll dive into it, we'll search, we'll study and see how it works. One thing has come to pass, which I said about the mentorship, which the moderator of the General Assembly also declared it at the just ended 20th General Assembly, that he wished that all leaders or all adults will have the young ones as their mentees, and therefore will shepherd them, because so no will do a children's service. No, they say, oh, your godfather, oh, your godmother, you check on the person. Oh, sorry. Oh, mumra, may say, like encouraging the child now. And man, oh, daddy is there. Interestingly, we have godmothers, godfathers. I am just about to think what really is their role, the role of the godmothers and the role of the godfathers. Because we are godmother and we should rethink of the people we narrowly name them as godmothers. They directly, indirectly have influence on our kids and the development of our kids, right? I haven't researched into that, but please, because of fine, godmother. It's a very big term. I don't godmother. But if you want to look at the shepherding aspect, I believe say a very, very important nipa friend of godmother and the bit aboa. Into yemu inano, ebitimi edi nkwala sheshe penny sa penny bi on my penny bonny. What the akwala shen and class on sisi number circle no be sena dream a circle ma. Be sena dream a circle on fancy. Omani si a circle democrat. Nemo send the weber and a Madonnas and a call Hungry Jacks and a call we and me ye you Bambe and Quay. I just said what done in a family friend cry. It's none of the churches, nothing about the church concerns them. Yamin Crawford, I am so passionate about church growth. I'm so passionate about what we can do to grow our church. And let's devise a model. Let's devise a model. You face a bit me boy, yeah, sorry. Now, how best we can grow our church. One of the first, I said, whether you like it or not, as a catechist, you must not joke with your messages in the pulpit. You must sometimes, before I finish preparing my message, it's 4 a.m. It is 4 a.m. and I have to sleep for 2 hours and get up because I'll be having meetings, and at the same time I'll try to put finishing touches and make sure I prepare my slides myself, I prepare everything myself and make sure that I know my content very well. Mr. Munyamin Crawford, that you are not just becoming a caretaker for just caretaker's sake or catechist sake, but a catechist with a difference. A catechist that when you pick the microphone and you're talking serious matter. You are speaking the mind of God. You are speaking the divine word that people will hear and give glory unto God. I pray that God will help us, that we will not allow our church to continue to decline, because the decline rate is very alarming and people are suffering. I pray that God will help us, that we can all move this church forward. Now, I want you to, the assignment I'll give you is not, you're not going to present it, but just jot down some few points. How best you think that you can use your office to grow your church? How best do you think you can use your office to grow your church? One, are you going to use visitation, or you are going to use the pulpit? Or if not the pulpit, you're going to use. So from next week, I think tomorrow, I'll handle the subject. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the various elements of church growth, the elements of church growth, and they'll be taking them one by one. It is my prayer that at the end of this service or at the end of the course, you pick at least 2 modules that you can use to grow your church. And then you yourself, you go and research on it, how you can use that thing to grow your church, how you can use it. There are thousands of them. There are several of them. So you can go, first of all, you can Google. If you want to search some of these materials, you first of all must Google, make it Google Scholar / church growth. That's where you get a good material. Google Scholar / church growth. If you just go and check ordinary Google, some of the things you'll be getting are not verified, are not peer reviewed, are not practicalized enough, and so you will not get the concrete of it. But if you want to get a peer reviewed one, most of them are open access, where after you check them, you can see the PDF, then you download it and see it. And so go read around it and see how best we can grow our church. I'll come back again in the last subject to pick you through faith, how we can build our faith, understanding faith. It will be the last. So I'm going to Bible studies, and I'm going to teach there. and I'll come back again in the next 1 hour to handle you in the subject of